Sounds like
okay, it's working now. Okay, so let me get by here too. Ah! Can you adjust the camera back? Okay, so what's the next question?
14.
Oh, what's 14? What's question? After this question.
13.
Okay, so question 13. So this one's 12?
Yeah, that's 12.
Okay, so what's the question 14 is going to be like? 13. Okay, so 13.
Is x squared minus 3x over x cubed minus 27 divided by 2x over 2x squared plus 6x plus 18.
Okay, so here, this is a good question. It's a question involve all different kind of factoring here. So I'm gonna factor as much as I can. When you're dividing or multiplying something, you're gonna factor as much as you can. So what can I factor here? X, right? So that's gonna be x minus 3. So what can I factor here?
X.
Go ahead.
X minus 3 and x squared plus 3x plus 9.
Yeah, that's perfect. So what the formula is, I'm going to write down for you, is a to the cube minus b to the cube plus minus b to the cube equal to a plus minus b times a squared minus plus ab plus b squared.
I feel like that.
So what happened, they just had to figure out, this one's a to the cube is x cubed, so a to the cube is equal to x cubed, so a must equal to x. B to the cube is equal to 27, so b must be 3. And then we just use the negative one, so we're going to use the negative. We're going to go with negative, negative, positive, cube, positive. So it's just follow the formula, so it's going to be x minus 3 times what? X squared plus 3x plus 9. So that is a factor of the cube. Most of you guys don't know how to factor the cube, but this is how you factor the cube. And we're going to say times. We're going to flip this over because of divide, we're going to change the time. So it's keep, change, flip. A lot of you guys forget to keep, change, flip. So it's going to be, I'm going to also now, I'm going to factor our 2 on the top. So it'll be x squared plus 4x plus 9. 3. Over 2x. So not only that, I did kind of everything, so I factor this as much as I can. Now I factor out x. Now I factor this is factoring by the cube. So even one question I can test you all different kind of factoring and also simplification. So this 2 will cancel out here. So this term and this term are exactly alike. They will cancel out and write down as 1. Make sure you write down 1 because last period somebody says, oh yeah, the answer is 2 because the answer is 2 here, but it's not because every time you cancel, it's 1-to-1 ratio, 1-to-1, 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 and 1-to-1. Do not cancel 1 versus 2 because that's wrong. So here when you cancel, I write down 1, so the answer is 1/2. I'm not questioned. But in this case, I must simplify this as 1. This is also 1, right? And 2 and 2 will cancel. And x will cancel. So the answer is equal to 1. Really beautiful answers, actually. If you factor everything correctly, and you would get 1. Okay. Do you have any questions? If you have a question, you can ask now. Yes.
I just don't remember the KCF rule.
KCF, if it's a divide, so if it's, let's say, 3/2, right? Divided by 3/4 like this, right? So that means it's going to be, when you divide, you always change the multiplication. So it'll be 3/2 times 4/3. You keep this, change this, and you flip the last one. So every time you say divide, automatic change to multiplication. That's the first steps. So now this one can simplify. This 3 and 3, and 2 and 4, that's going to be 2, so the answer is 2 here. So same thing on the 4th grade level is applied to high school level. And then we had to deal with sine and cosine, so it's not going to be the end of it. It's going to be keep on continuous going. Question about this part? No? Okay, next question. Can you tell me what the next question is?
3x over 2x squared minus 11x plus 5.
3x over
2x squared minus 11x plus 5 minus 7 over x squared minus 2x minus 15.
Perfect. Okay, so now this is the questions here. You say, hey, how do I add and subtract? But let's look at how do you add and subtract on, let's say, 10, and then let's say it's minus 3 over 15, something like that. That's just normal fractions. But what do you do the first step? Actually factor it. I mean slowly. I'm gonna see 5 times 3. And then since we're gonna figure out what's least common denominator. They both have 5, so we're gonna write down 5. So this is what's common, right? And the unique is 2 and 3, so this is the unique. So that means this 5 times 2 times 3 is my least common denominator. So I need to multiply this by 3 over 3, and this 2 over 2, right? So there, back, it's going to be 5 times 3 times 2. This one's going to be 3 minus 6. So now they have the same denominator, you can subtract the top. So it'll be negative 3 over 5 times 3 times 2. They can cancel out, it's going to be negative 1, so it'll be negative 1 over 10. That's my answer. This is a algebra, this is a 4th grade, but in a slower motion than 4th grade level. Because 4th grade just multiply this by 3 over 3 is 2 over 2. We didn't actually factor it. But in high school, we factor it. In high school, we factor this, we say, okay, how can I factor this? So this one, I had to do a box. So the people that say box is so hard to write, it's not. 2, 5, negative 11, that's how much I write down the number. 2, 1, 5, 1, and they both 10, 1, negative, 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 negative. So it'll be 2x minus 1 times 2 times x minus 5, and 3x. Are we okay here? And then here is going to be minus 7 over x minus 5, x plus 3. So now we're going to determine what's LCD. LCD is what they both have in common. What do they have both in common? X minus 5, right? But what do they have unique? 2x minus 1 times x plus 3. Questions? Now what I need is, I'm going to make sure they have same denominator just like here and here. So I'm using different color marker. I'm using blue. Here, what do I need to multiply on this side? Well, it's missing what? We have x plus 3, right? Over x plus 3. It's missing what on this side? 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. And then you say, okay, well, now I have a least common denominator now. So it'll be x plus 3, 2x minus 1, x minus 5. Now you can add and subtract the top, but be careful. We're going to distribute this 3x to this. So we get 3x times x plus 3, and the minus, I write this one extra step because it kind of helped me, 2x minus 1 here. What can I do now? Distribute. Can I cancel?
No.
No, don't ever cancel because the subtracting sign here is connecting this two. So there's no factor. This is not a factor. This is a distributing process. So then you're going to say, okay, that's equal to 3x squared plus 9 minus 14x.
It's 9x.
Plus 9x, thank you. And then minus 14x plus 7, right? On the bottom is, we're gonna write down x plus 3, 2x minus 1, times x minus 5. Now I just had to simplify the top, so it'll be 3x squared minus 5x plus 7, all over x plus 3 times 2x minus 1 times x minus 5. So if you don't practice enough, tomorrow's test you might run out of time because a lot of things are time consuming.
Oh, yeah, but we what plus 7?
Negative times negative. See that negative 7? Also this part is everybody missed this sign. It's the end of 3.
7, negative 7.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm depending on you told me the right question, so hopefully you guys told me the right question. Next question.
Wait, Mr. I have a question.
Yes.
So, like after you get that, can you factor the top or?
You can factor the top, but this is not factorable, I can tell right away.
Yeah, I know.
3 and 7 is no way to get you 5. But sometimes, yes, you can factor. And if you see some common factor, rarely you see that. I do find a couple questions in the past that you can factor the top, and I put as a test question, and they had to cancel at the end. If they didn't all the way, then they will get not full credits. Okay, next questions. You cannot just look at it. You have to practice your own, because I say like you try to just look at it. Those questions you should try before I even start it.
It's x to the negative 1.
X to the negative 1.
Plus plus 2xy to the negative 1 over x to the negative 2 minus x to the negative 2 y to the negative 1.
Okay, this is a very difficult question. The reason what a negative 1 is, or that negative 2 is including to which power. You have to be careful with that. This first step is very, very important. How do I manage the first step? So how do I write x to the negative 1 power? 1 over x, good. So this one's good, this one's easy, but how about the next one? It's 2x over y, because only y go to downstairs. Not x, not 2. So it'd be 2x over y. All over, what's the next one? 1 over x squared, right? This one's pretty easy. But how about the next one? Yeah. So this is the first harder steps for a lot of you guys. Now, there are a few ways to do the same problem. I'm just going to do old-fashioned way. We're going to look at this as a parenthesis, and this is a parenthesis here. And you need to combine these common denominator. So I need a what? Y over y. So I'm going to write in different colors so that way you can see. Is we're trying to combine these common denominator. So I'm going to do here. It's going to be y over y, and then x over x. Questions? What's this common denominator on this one?
X squared y.
X squared y. Right. What am I missing here?
Y.
What am I missing here?
Nothing.
Nothing. So we are fine. So we say on the top, we can simplify the top, so it'll be x, y, because y, x, y, that same thing. 2 times 3, 3 times 2, there's no difference. Here they can add a top now, so it'll be y plus 2x. On the bottom, it's going to be x squared, y, 2x squared, thank you. On the bottom, it's going to be x squared, y, and then here it's going to be what? Y minus 1, right? So then you're going to do keep, change, flip, because this one is going to be this fraction divided by this fraction, right? So it'll be y plus 2x squared xy divide y minus 1 over x squared y. If you divide, what do I do? Keep, change, flip. Y plus 2x over xy times x squared y over y minus 1. This is x times y, so xy and xy will cancel.
It's 2x squared.
2x squared, go ahead. So then you will have x times y plus 2x squared over y minus 1. And you're going to leave it as a factor form. Do not distribute because there are reasons for that.
Wait, so that's the answer?
We leave
That's
it.
the answer.
We leave it in
Huh? I'm just going to continue this recording for the next few questions. Can I pause the live stream? No. No?
Maybe you should like see on Twitch. Because I think you can pause it there.
Twitch? What is Twitch? Twitch is the gaming thing, right?
No, Twitch. Not people use it.
Why do people use Twitch?
People donate money to you, they watch your videos a lot. That's it.
Yeah.
Who sponsors?
Like, I watch it, like sometimes, there's like a soccer game, I watch it on Twitch, if I don't have it on the TV.
Alright.
Yeah, people just live stream.
She said it's so confuzzled.
What's so confuzzled?
Confuzzled. It's not a word.
It's confused. It's puzzled.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait till the break and I'll come back, I'll do this video. I try not to stop it right now, so keep on waiting.
Oh, you're going to your 3 viewers?
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, I'll watch it, so it could be 4.
I'll
Whoa.
watch it
See
too.
now you are hurt. You are trying to insult me. You're mad at me about the other day about Jeremy.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm
Where is
like,
Jeremy?
Ask Jeremy. And I'm like, whatever. I was so offended. I'm like,
I
She
know.
felt like she failed in that moment.
yeah, I feel
I
like
know.
a failure at that moment. He's like, ask Jeremy. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see how it is.
You can come after school or meet me after school. Yes.
After school, I was leave.
Usually I have to tutor somebody at 4, so usually before 4 is fine.
Bye, Mr. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay. So you can come in. You can try this problem and make sure you can do the right thing.
Yeah, because I'm not giving up on this stuff, so
Yeah, that's fine. We'll go through the stuff. You want to be an engineer or what?
no, I actually want to study medicine.
Oh, that's okay. So you have a good goal. So we have to get there. How you doing?
Hi, Mr. Yu.
Why don't you see? I'm sorry.
Good morning.
Oh.
I'm here.
Is that so confusing? I have a question.
What's your question?
3x minus that.
That one? It's not.
Yes. All the ones that are like this. You subtract.
I couldn't do the question. Are you like all of a sudden not crippled or something? This is great. You don't have a break? This is how people get more injured. Especially at school. I was sweating every single day.
Yeah, actually, I'm still not.
Is that supposed to be you?
Huh?
Is that
I
supposed
mean,
to
yeah.
be you? Oh my god.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Hey, I'm proud of myself. For real?
What did you do right?
Bro. I need it. Did you get
I didn't get my nut.
You didn't capture pretty well on the drawing.
Are you sure?
It's a really bad drawing, but they really captured all the spirit behind
Sure
it.
it's not high? If it is, cool.
I saw your brother. Your brother says you're. Nah, you gotta prove you're smarter than all that. Next year you're gonna take calculus and you'll never take calculus.
See, the thing is, he's still gonna answer me.
Huh?
He's still gonna help me. Be like, hey, because that's what I'm saying.
Is he live right now?
I got one.
Yeah, it's live.
Every 4 it repeats itself.
Has the bell ring yet?
Instagram live.
Bell hasn't ring yet.
Still on Instagram program was.
So I just drew 18.
Come on, Adrian.
I can't. I just saw a live saying like, look.
Every 4, 72 is divided by 12. So you would 73. 73 is not divisible. 72.
Wait, is that a video right now?
No.
Oh, ew, no. Why would you do this to me? I didn't know that was actually on.
I didn't want to turn it off because it doesn't load after I turn it off.
It's a look, right?
Stack and restart. So it's a restart, so you can go back to 1. And then 72
Wait, is nobody sitting here?
goes to brand new.
I don't think he's here. You know what? I'm gonna sit here for today. If he's not here, what if he's here?
I need to look for it.
It's 73.
You should go.
Siri.
Keep thinking. There's like a whole, there's like a whole group of us.
Recording.
Yeah. Because if I turn off, they have problems.
Wait, only remember because he told me about his tattoos.
So I might as well go back and turn it off.
Oh, I was wondering what you were talking about.
Okay, so what happened is I'll be here afternoon for tutoring. I'll be here till around roughly 4 o'clock, but still there are some things that you can access even that you cannot make tutoring. Everything is you just take this. Yeah, you can sit here. You can be next to the camera. I know you're like camera.
I didn't know how to do
Oh, no. Okay, so this video is recording since the 3rd period because I didn't want disconnected. I have problem logging out again. So therefore I'm kind of recording it still. So meanwhile, if you saw this video, you just have to like skip over when the actual class starts. So what happened is you have test tomorrow, first thing. Second thing, I'll be here this afternoon. Third thing, subscribe me. Click and like or whatever.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, whatever that's it. Yes.
Is your stream, do you accept donations on your stream?
Yes, please.
Are you?
I try to
I'm on Patreon. What is it? Patreon?
Subscribe to my
Patreon,
channel.
yeah. I'm not creating a Patreon account. People gonna donate to my cause. Okay. So right now we're still in Algebra 1 stage. We're not in pre-cal stage yet, but we're gonna cover it really fast. So right now, I'm trying to help you guys have this access. I'm trying to using the technology to help you. But please do come into after school because we can talk about a specific thing you don't understand. But still, right now, you can still access even at home. And I'm actually already going to, I don't know which questions this one. This one's what, 14, I think? 14 or 13, I don't know. 14. And this one's 15, I believe. And the answers are all posted. So if you want to check about which one question is which answer, you can go back to look at it when you're doing today's the review sheet. You should have a review sheet done. And a lot of you guys might not have done it, but I don't. Look, I'm not here to hurt your grade. I'm here to help you grade. So that's why I issue a review sheet for you to access to it. You should check if you know what you're doing. If you don't know, come this afternoon for help. Please do not hesitate to come in. I'm here to help. I'm not a person that like to make kids have bad grades. No, I love to kids have good grades. I don't want it to grading your paper. Have to. I can't say that on internet. But I don't want to. I don't want to grade your paper and get very high stress and blood pressure. And you know, it's very depressive when I grade bad paper. I get like endorphin if I grade good papers. I get highs from grading if I grade good papers. So therefore, I really wanted to make sure that you guys get a good grade. So it's not like I don't want to get bad grades. So I don't know which. This one is last period. I end up with those 2 questions. the answer is going to be 3x squared minus 5x plus 7. So when you go back to look at the video, you make sure that you got to be able to do it by yourself first before you watch a video. Second, you did it, and then you go back, look at video, see what you did wrong. Okay? So what's a misconception? Write in red pen says, this is what I misunderstand, this part. Don't ever do that on the test. Otherwise, I'll be penalized. So everything you did today is not penalized until the test. So you gotta make sure you can do it. Okay, so which question is this one?
That one is 15.
Okay, so we're gonna go to question. This one's 15 or this one's 15?
That one's 15, that one's 14.
14. So this is 15, so I'm gonna erase this side. So we're gonna go question 16, right? Okay. So you can always go back to watch the video about how to do something. But we're gonna go to question 16. And hopefully by 6th period we should be able to finish all the questions.
Where is the answers posted?
Our answer is posted on the video format.
Oh,
Oh, it's even better.
Okay.
You just have to fast forward to that question. Okay, so question 16, I believe. So can you tell me what question 16 is?
2x in parentheses outside power of negative 1 plus 1 over 2x to the power of negative 1 minus 1.
Okay, so the only thing about this question is this one doesn't have a parenthesis. So the way to dictate this question is going to be 1 over x on this one. And this one, see, only y go to negative 1 power, so it's actually 2x over y. And this one's x to the negative 2, so it's 1 over x squared. X to the negative 2, so they flip the different sides, so it's going to be 1 over x squared. And y is to 1 power because they are different powers, although they are negative at different power. But this one's a different. This one has parentheses. So what does that parenthesis mean? A parenthesis means here, what is 2x to the parenthesis negative 1 power is? 1 over 2x plus 1. And I suppose on bottom is what?
2 over x.
2 over x minus 1, right? So we're still going to do the old-fashioned way, although we teach you about 2 different ways to do this problem, but I was just going to stick with the old-fashioned way right now. We need to have a common denominator. Give me a second, sit down first. I'll talk to you afterwards. So it's going to be, here is 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this by 2x over 2x. And I'm going to multiply this by x over x. Just have a seat. And you can pay attention on the board if you want to learn.
Just the ones?
Yeah, just the 1, because the problem is they don't have a same denominator. If you think about it, this was actually 1 over 1, right? And this 1 is 1 over 1. But do they have a same denominator? No, so you have to make sure they have same denominator for you to add. So right here is on the top it's going to be what? 2x. This is the same denominator now. Now it's going to be 1 plus 2x. On the bottom it's going to be x, right? And it's going to be 2 minus x. Now, this one is divided by this one, so we talk about this fraction divided by this fraction. So let's say 1/2 divided by 3/4. That same thing is 1/2 divided by 3/4, right? So we're going backwards, so it's going to be 1 plus 2x over 2x divided by 2 minus x over x. Keep change flip, it's going to be 1 plus 2x over 2x times x over 2 minus x. So the x cancel out. So if this x cancel out here, so that's going to be 1 plus 2x over 2 times 2 minus x. So that should be an answer.
What?
Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Yes, Michael.
I did everything right except I got 3 over 4.
You are canceling where you're not supposed to canceling. So for example, this 2 and 2 does not cancel. Okay, so this x and x does not cancel. I think you cancel the x and x.
You can't cancel the...
No, it's not a factor. This x is not a factor. You cannot cancel anything. So make sure you don't overdo things. You rather leave like this. If you overdo things and mark it completely wrong, because that's completely off the track. That tells me that foundation It's not there, you cancel the wrong thing, it's more worse than you cannot finish your problem. It's more worse. Does that make sense? It's
More worse. Worse.
worser.
It's worse.
More
Just
worse.
worse. Just leave
Just
it at
worse.
worse. Leave it at worse.
Okay, whatever. I'm Chinese, so.
Let's leave it at
You
worse.
can't cancel that x against that x?
Right, because this x is not a factor. It's not
Against
against
Above
this
it.
x.
above it.
Here, this x can cancel because this is a factor.
But those two x's.
Those x cannot cancel because it's not a factor, because this is 2 times x. This is x times 1. Now this is 1 plus 2x. So it's connected by addition sign, subtraction sign. So that's not a factor, you cannot cancel those. Those are small misunderstandings I need you guys to get right away. Because that's what's gonna make you good at mathematics or weak at mathematics. So this is really 2 similar questions. You should try at home, make sure you do all those questions correctly, even before you watch the video. Video is for you to have a backhand, to have a kind of reserve. But it's not for you. You cannot study math through watching video. There's no way. I tried, it didn't work. I promise you I tried. Okay. Next questions.
That was 16, right?
Yeah, that was 16, so we're gonna go 17. What is it?
A to the power negative 1
A to the power -1?
plus. No, A.
A?
Yeah.
A, B, C, D, is A? Uh-huh.
Plus 2A to the power negative 2 over 2A to the power negative 1 plus, in parentheses, 2A negative 1.
You gotta throw it out the window. Sorry, it's out.
Yeah.
Technically.
I was trying to use
You
hotspot.
touched
It's technically still out. I still see it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, Tatiana, you better make sure tomorrow you did very well on your test. You can throw it out, but you better make sure you can do very well on the
Let me
test.
not get up then. You can get up?
You can go ahead and throw it out. You have my permission. I just wish that you do well on tomorrow's test. I sincerely wish you do
That's
well.
still warning you, bro. You're still getting up too.
Right.
So when I see your student ID, I'm like, what's your student
You get
ID
this
number?
on
Last
video.
4 digits.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah, I kind of forgot.
Oh.
Just turns the light screen.
Oh, thank you. At least you put it in plastic bag. No. You gotta make sure you're gonna pick up for me because I'm gonna forget. I'm gonna leave it outside all day long. So yeah, somebody just throw my phone out. So don't have a phone out in my class. Otherwise, here's the example. Here's a light food. So that's gonna be 1 over A plus 2 over A squared. Does that make sense? Wow. I feel bad for your boyfriend.
Stop.
That's bad. When I meet your boyfriend,
Yeah.
that's bad. Yes.
Can you just kind of explain that, like how?
Oh, because a to the negative 1 power, anything negative 1 power, so a to the negative n is equal to 1 over a to the n. So this is means they're gonna change different size. So just think about it as a bunk bed. Remember I told you guys about bunk beds? They're not happy where they're at, so they're gonna go downstairs, become happy. So you don't like to be on the top bunk. You have to go to the bottom bunk and become positive. So that's what happened. A to the negative 1 is gonna be 1 over a. Here is going to be 2, but it's only a to the negative 2 power. It's not a 2. So therefore 2 over a squared. That make sense? So now here it's going to be the same thing. Only a is going to go down to the fraction. Only go down to the denominator. So it'll be a to the 1. I don't need to write 1 here. Plus, now this one is both. So 1 over 2a. Does that make sense? Now, I need a common denominator. Yes.
Bottom right. What is that? Why is there a 1 over a fraction?
Oh, no, sorry. It's 1 over 2a. I don't know. I was kind of worried about my phone. Somebody throw it out.
What you feel.
I'm serious, you gotta make sure you do very well with terminal
I get a
stats.
52.
I hope that's worth it for you. The short-term satisfaction might not be.
Progress reports come out next week.
So I multiply a over a because I know my least common denominator on the top is going to be a squared. So I only need one more a here. And on here, I need to make sure it's a and a. I only make sure it's 2a in this case. So I need to multiply this side by 2 over 2. And this one is done. Right? So now I have a squared. I have 2a and 2a. You are shake your head like you don't understand this. Let me know which part you don't understand. Yes, you. You got it? Okay, so now there's still a parenthesis right here. So now what happened is on the top is going to be a squared, so the common denominator is a squared. So the top part I can add now, so it'll be a plus 2. On the bottom it's going to be 2a. Now it's going to be 4 plus 1 is what? 5, right? So then do keep changing flip. A plus 2 over a squared times 2a over 5. So the a cancel out because this is a times a, right? So if I write down a times a, then the a cancel out. So it'll be 2 times a plus 2 over 5a. Let me know if you have any questions. Yes?
If I cancel out the a on top right and bottom left only have an a, right?
So this one and this one cancel?
No. Top right, bottom left.
Top right?
Two a's that you crossed out.
Yeah.
Since it's a squared on bottom left.
So a squared and a cancel out, right? So if you think about a squared is a times a, that's another way to think about it. One of the a cancel out, not both a. So you're gonna get 2 parentheses a. This is a plus 2. Let me know if you have any questions. You can still ask questions. Now is a good time to ask questions. Marion, if I were you, I'll come to tutoring today. Make sure you stay to 6 o'clock. Make sure you get 100 on tomorrow's test. I cannot find any flaw on your test.
Shoot.
Huh? Yes.
Just a dumb question back.
No, there's no dumb question. Let's go back.
A over a and a 2 over 2. Like, how do you figure that out?
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so a and a squared, right? Think about if we have 1 over 2 plus 2 over 4. What is the least common denominator? 1 over 2 and 1 over 4. Least common denominator is what? No. What's the least common denominator between 1/2 minus 1/4? Like, this one is essentially 2 times 2, right?
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you want to have extra 2 here. So you want to make sure it's 2 over 2 here. 2 before left to subtract. So therefore you need an a over a here to get it a squared on the denominator. The bottom, do you need an exponent?
Oh, yeah, I understand.
The bottom need a 2 over 2. You need to have 2a and 2a on the bottom. You need to have the same denominator. Okay, questions? Yes?
You said 1 through 15 is on the video, right?
Yeah, it's all on the first video. And this is the second video. Yes?
This isn't on the topic of 2xy to the negative 1. Why is it 2x over y?
Okay, 2xy to the negative 1.
Yes.
So this one is going to be, so only the negative 1 is only applied to the y, not applied to the x, so it's 2. So therefore, only the y is going to go to denominator, not anything else, because that negative 1 only applied to y.
I'm using the negative 1 exponent, just goes to denominator.
Yes, I mean not denominator, it's going to go from denominator to numerator or numerator to denominator. So if I have this, right, 2xy to the negative 1, that means this one's going to become numerator and become positive. Does that make sense? So this. Because that's negative 1's down here, it can move to the top and become positive. So that's how negative exponent.
You're just moving it to take away the negative exponent.
Yeah, you're moving, take away negative exponent. Good. That's when you move to a different side, it becomes negative. become opposite sign. So I can actually do this, right? It can actually rewrite this. So I can actually write this 2 over x to the negative 1 y. This are the same thing. Because I can move down here, this is 1 become negative. If I move back, I can go back here. So math is going both ways, not only one directions. If you go, yes?
What about cases for -2?
-2, yeah, that's fine. So if you say 2x to the -2, y to the -1, right? Or and the z, something like this. This one just equal to, well, 2. So you draw a line here. This one is going to go down, becomes positive. Y is going to go down, becomes positive. But the z stay on top.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Hopefully that answers all your question. And it's a parenthesis that's different. So it'll be 2x to the -1 power. That means that everything is going to go down. But there's still 1 on the top. It's invisible, but it's there. Okay, hopefully that answers your some question. Yes? Bendy? Your question? No? Okay, so can I go to the next question or no? Okay, so what's the next question?
Square root of 32
Square root what?
32 x to the 7.
Square root of 32.
X to the 7.
Y -5
Uh-huh.
times
Square root of 4x squared.
Square root of 4x squared.
Yeah. Y to the -5.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so now let's look at this question.
Oh, it's the -5?
No, I think it's -3.
Okay, I put because I put -3 too.
Let's go with -3. This one -3, right?
Yeah. That was a
Yeah,
5?
it's -3.
Okay, let's go with -3. It doesn't matter. If I can do both, I'll do both. Okay, so, and there's only a little bit difference if that. So those two radicals multiply together. That means what? The radical rule says square root a times square root b, right? Is equal to square root ab. Now there's one hidden agenda here. The a and b both cannot be negative, but those are small things that I'm not going to test about. But just in case in the future, you should know a and b cannot be both negative in order for that thing to work.
Why?
Huh?
Why can't they be negative?
Because let's say square root of -10 times square root of -10. If you were to do this rule, you will get square root of 100, and that's equal to 10. But that's not the right answer. But if you simplify this correctly, it should be square root of -1 times square root of 10, and this one's going to be square root of -1 times square root of 10. This is square root of -1 is I times square root of 10 times I times square root of 10. That's going to be I squared times square root of 100, because square root of 10 times square root of 10 is 100. This one let down is 10. I squared is -1, so it's actually -10. So those are actually hidden rules there that you don't know about. I'm not going to test that part, but that part is kind of important for SAT for you to recognize those small, tiny difference. According to rule, A and B cannot both be negative. That's a very subtle algebra rules. Nobody really pay attention to that, but that's a great question because those two are multiplying. But since we don't have a negative inside, so we don't have to worry about it. 32 times 4 is what?
128.
128, good. So those two can multiply. X is going to multiply because due to the product rule. What do you think the X is going to do? 7 and 2, what do they think they're going to do? 7 plus 2, right? Y to the -8. And still square root. So now I'm going to rewrite it. 128x to the 9 over y to the 8. Because only y is to the -8 power, not an x. And this is still square root. Are we okay? Yes, because negative exponent goes to the bottom. Or they can change side, actually. If it's the bottom, it's going to go to the top.
Isn't it -8? Why?
Yeah, but as -8, I changed it downstairs, it becomes a +8. Because I don't like negative exponents. Yes?
So anytime you have a negative exponent, whatever that exponent's attached to, that thing has to go on the bottom.
Not on the bottom, is to change
Or,
switch
yeah,
side.
whichever side.
Yeah, so if you have 1 over x to the -2, right? you're not supposed to have -2 on this side, you're supposed to change side to become +2. So this is equal to this. Does that make sense? So what if you have x -2, y to the 4, and z to the -2, something like that. So this is gonna change to down. This is gonna go up, becomes positive. Yeah, so it'll be y to the 4, z to the square, and x squared. Okay, so that's how you simplify this.
That's about answer.
No, for this particular
Figure sure.
so now, I'm gonna take out as much as I can, right? 128. So 128, I can do 2, 64, and then 2 and what? 32, and then 2, 16, and 2, 8, and 2, 4, and 2, and 2, right? So you can take out 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, this one has no friends. Same thing as x. X, you have 9, so the way I do x is this is square root. I do 9 divided by 2. 9 divided by 2 is what? 4, right? So it should be take out 4x, or you can do it this way. But this way is too long, right? You can group of 4x, right? So I can do x to the 4th on the top, and I can take 2 times 2 times 2 is what? 8.
What?
8, because 2 times 2 times 2, I'm going to write down 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, so inside here, I have this one don't have no friends, that's x. Y, I can take out what? Y to the 4th. So it'll be y to the 4th. So it'll be 8x to the 4th, y to the 4th, square root of x.
Isn't it 2x?
Yeah, 2x.
2x, thank you. Because those are 2 right here, no friends. Now this one's a little bit more difficult, but okay.
I'm lost in the 2 times 2 times 2 part.
Okay, so
Like anything and
so here, right, 128, right? So we want to take out 128 out of radical. So that 128 take out radical is 128 here. So I break down to all of prime factorization, right? So I can take out this, this, and this. So I can take out 2 times 2 times 2.
Oh, so
Because remember,
2 to the 3rd.
yeah, 2 to the 3rd.
Oh.
And then same thing, x to the 9, I can take out 1, 2, 3, 4, x to the 4. But this one has no friends here, and this one has no friend here, so it's going to be 2x here on the top. And this is 1 here, so if you want to write down that, that's fine, but it doesn't make a difference.
Why is the y taken out?
Huh? Y doesn't want to stay in radical as well. We don't call it radical, but we call it something else, but I can't say that in the camera. I did say that before. That's okay.
Oh yeah. Why does it go to 4 though?
Because there was 8 people, right? So if you think of slow motion, that's what happened. So you can have 1 group, 2 group, 3 group, 4 group. So I do 8 divided by 2. That's probably the fastest way. If I see any remainder, I should leave it inside. That's a remainder. That's the people that they don't have any friends.
Why is it 2x instead of just x?
2x here? Why is it 2x? What do you mean?
Well, why is there 2?
Oh, 2 because this 2 has
Oh,
no
yeah.
friends. Next questions. Come on, next questions.
Square root, cube root.
Cube root, yeah, we can put cube root. Cube root is more fun. Okay, cube root.
Cube root of 27 x to the power 4 y to the power 5 over x to the power 4 y to the power 7.
This is 19, right?
Well, this one we're doing right now?
Yeah.
Yep.
This is question 19. Thank you. So that's how we simplify. So we're going to simplify due to the quotient rule here because they are underneath one radical, right? So can I put a third root of 27? x4 times 4 minus 4. 5 minus 7.
7.
Because 7 at the bottom.
That's a 7?
Yeah.
I thought it was 4.
I thought it was 14.
Oh, I pressed 7.
Okay, well, we're gonna go by 4 or 7.
I put 7.
7.
Okay, let's do 7.
Okay.
Okay, so that's gonna be what? 27 x to the 0. What's anything to the 0 power? It's 1. Y to the -2. So it's gonna be 27 times 1 times y squared. But this radical is gonna be all the way to the 3rd power. But 27 to the 3rd root is what?
9? No.
3. So you can take out a 3 outside to the 3rd roots of 1 over y squared. Now this one doesn't have enough to come outside, so it's going to be 3, 1 over 3rd roots of y squared. Now for me, this is a good enough answer, but sometimes you say you cannot have radical in denominator. You can actually rationalize this, but I'm not going to rationalize this part, because if I want you to rationalize, I'll tell you. In this part, I won't give you a question that you have to rationalize.
Just to keep it like that, right?
Yeah.
Still leave 1 over 1. So I didn't put y. I didn't put the radical in the denominator.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Why are there 2 3s?
Huh?
Why are there 2 3s in the second?
Because the index is 3.
This is a little index, yeah.
There's 2 3s.
No,
It's like a
that's the
mini tree.
cube.
This is the like,
The mini tree?
Yeah, I know there's a 3 and a cube, but I thought if there's a 3 there, you don't have to have a cube.
No, but this is 3 is taken out from 27.
Okay.
Because 3 times 3 times 3.
So is it the final answer is
Let's-
3?
This 2 is acceptable. But you should not have radical in denominator. You should be rationalized, but I'm not going to test that part, because rationalize is a cube root. It's unnecessary. It's not going to be something that you're going to be used later.
So it's 1 divided by.
You can actually write it like this: 3 over 3rd roots of y squared.
What? What?
Next one hard, okay?
Wait,
I
you
don't,
said
all of them, I don't know.
that first answer at the top of the cube root of 1 to the y
This is
squared.
fine.
That's the
Yeah.
answer to top one.
Yeah, but
3
the one
all
below
accepted.
that, that's also a different answer, but.
But he doesn't want you to write that.
Okay.
Next question. Shh. Next question. Next question. Come on.
27 x to the 4th.
What is it?
27 x to the 4th. Y to the 7th. Over 3x to the 1/2. Y to the 3 over 2. And all to the -4 over 5. Over 3.
Well, this one's 3, but so we're gonna change it to 3, okay? Because 5 is not necessary. So here it's gonna start with my handwriting. So 27 divided by 3 is what? So I simplify inside, right? Because it's parentheses. That's what it is inside for. X top minus bottom, and then y to the 7 minus 3 over 2. Because I always stay with top minus bottom. So I can do that on the side. 4 minus 1/2. That's equal to 8 over 2 minus 1/2. That's equal to 7 over 2. So it's going to be 9x to the 7 over 2. Y to the what? 7 minus 3 over 2. So that's going to be 14 over 2 minus 3 over 2. That's equal to 11 over 2. So it'll be 11 over 2 times by -4 over 3. Now what I do is I'm going to bring the power inside. Okay, so I make sure to write down a number and put a 1 power, because that's going to affect it. I'm going to think. So that's going to be 9 to the -4 over 3 power, x to the -7 over 2 power, y to the, no, that's not it. So 2 over 7, that's going to be times. So 7 over 2 times -4 over 3. This one is going to be 2, so it'll be -14 over 3. So it'll be -14 over 3. And I'm going to do 11 over 2 times -4 over 3. So this one's 2, so it'll be -22 over 3. So -22 over 3. Now do you see the negative exponents? What do you do? Go downstairs, right? So it's going to be 1 over 9 to the 4 over 3 power, x to the 14 over 3, and then y to the 22 over 3. But this one I can change back to radical. So I'm going to do that on the side. So this one, that means what? Power over roots. So it's going to be third roots of 9 to the 4th power. That means 9 times 9 times 9 times 9, but those 3 is the index, right? So I can take out 1 9 here. So third root of 9. So that's going to be 1 over, this one's fine answer for here, but I really want you to simplify this if you can. Third root of 9, x to the 14 over 3, y to the 22 over 3. And that should be the final answer. Questions? Yes?
How did you get the 9 cube root of 9?
This is the power over definition of radical. Power over roots. That's power over roots. Remember that? The tree, that's a tree, by the way. That's a power. People say it looks like squid. Power over roots. So power over roots. Power over roots. So this is the power over roots, right? Power over roots.
Do you want us?
How do you get the 9? Like the
How do I get a 9? Because 9 times 9
all the way
times
to
9.
the right. Yeah.
Because it's 9 times 9 times 9 times 9, right?
Yeah.
This can get out the cube.
So on the test, you want us to simplify it like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I will give you something that you can simplify.
Okay.
I won't give you like that number. Like next questions.
21.
21. Oh, we have 5 more questions. 21.
So what?
3i over 2i plus 2
3i.
over 2i plus 2 times 2i, oh, never mind, that's the question.
Okay, yes, Michael.
When you get 7 over 2 times negative 4.
I think we have one more question similar like this.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah,
25.
Oh, 25 has similar question?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can go back to that. Okay, 3i over 2i plus 2. What's conjugate of this one?
2y minus 2 over 2y minus 2.
So then on the bottom is going to be 4i squared minus 4, right? On the top is going to be 6i squared minus 6i.
Yep.
So I squared is what?
-1.
Negative 1. Right? Negative 1 here. So that I squared, make sure you had to convert because people forget. So that's going to be negative 6, negative 6i. And here it's going to be what? Negative 8.
Mm-hmm.
Split them. Negative 6 over negative 8 minus 6i over negative 8. So this one's going to be 3 over 4 positive plus 3 over 4i. So a plus bi form.
And then we can write it as just 3 plus 3i over 4, right?
You can do that, but I prefer a plus bi form.
Okay.
A plus bi form, we're going to learn that in calculus. That's very important because later on we're going to graph the 3 over 4 plus 3 over 4i, and we got to find the modulus, which is distance from origin, and you can tell from here rather than there.
Okay.
So that's another advantage why you had to split.
Okay.
Next question. This is 21, 22?
Give me a second.
Huh?
Give me a second to count.
No, you can watch it in slow motion later.
You did that.
If you have a question, let me know. But I'm not slowing down.
To get rid of yeah, but to simplify it.
Mister,
Uh-huh.
why can't we get rid of I? When it's negative 6 minus 6i, one of the last steps. Down.
Here?
Down.
Here?
Below.
Yeah, no, like.
You're just on it. You're
Here?
just
Yeah,
right
this
there.
one.
So
Why
I
can't we-
cannot change because I does not equal to any value right now. I is complex. So negative 6 over negative 8 is a real number over real number. This is the complex over real, so it can simplify.
Why can we simplify I to the second power but not simplify?
Oh, because I to the second power, the rule says I to the second power is equal to negative 1. the I to the first power is the square root of -1. I mean, you can write as a square root of -1, but the problem is we need I. We need I later for other purpose. For example, we can do a lot of things.
So is it 3i over 4 or is it 3 over 4?
3 over 4i. 3i over 4 is fine.
Okay, what time do we leave?
Next question.
6i plus 2
6i plus 2
over 2i minus 4.
over 2i what?
Minus 4.
Minus 4. Tatiana, you're gonna help me pick up the phone, okay?
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you. At least do that. You're gonna be. And I might be lenient. Don't go through here. Go around.
Can I get it?
No, you're gonna get me in trouble. Because somebody, like, one administrator walked the other way once, and they saw like somebody climbed out of my window. And it was like really hideous. So this one multiply each other, it's gonna be what? 4i squared, right? It's difference of a square minus 16. We keep on coming back to difference of a square. This one's gonna be 12i squared plus 24i plus 4i and then plus 8. So on the bottom, it's going to be -4 minus 16 because the I squared is -1. So 12 times -1. I'm going to write it out so that way you don't be confused. Plus 28i plus 8. So that's going to be -12 plus 28i plus 8 over -20. That's going to be -4 over -20 plus 28i over -20. So that's going to be 1 over 5 and minus 7 over 5i.
You're doing like the whole thing, right?
Yeah, I'm doing the whole thing, the 6 period number.
Spoil me more. I'll have to have it, but I'll watch the video.
Yeah, just have to make sure you do the problem before you watch the video.
Good day, Monsieur.
My bad.